tell us a little bit about your plugin company. How did you start it? Um, I guess give us like the basic background, I guess, for starters.
Yeah, so I do not have any background in developing, and I also do not have any background in engineering or anything like that. So I kind of knew from the start that I'll probably need to find some good freelancers to work with, and I was lucky to find a guy called David, who's amazing software developer that basically is a really amazing helping hand with everything I do in terms of plugins. In terms of hardware, I'm also using a freelancer to help me with the PCB designs and stuff. But in general, I kind of started with a vision. I actually started from the end. So like I tried to design whatever plugin or hardware I wanted, like actual, like GUI design. And then started handing it out to people and asking like, hey, can you help me build this? It took a few tries. Like the first plugin, which was the Gorilla Drive, I did with 3 different programmers that I wasn't happy with any of them, and kind of almost gave up. I was almost at a point where I was like, okay, I'm throwing money here, and it's not really turning out to be something that I like. But I ended up finding David and David, and he just really helped me realize what I actually need, which was kind of a working structure that's different than the rest of the people that I worked with were suggesting. So what me and David came up with is sort of like a back office of sorts. So he sends me a back office of like all the EQs and compressors and distortions that I could ever imagine, and then just tells me like, pick and choose whatever you want and explain to me, what happens when you turn the knob up or what happens when you turn the knob down. And after spending hours on these libraries, you just find whatever you want. That's pretty much like how we work till this day on all the plugins. And that's actually how I came to the idea of the Time Machine, which is the second plugin that I released. The first one is Gorilla Drive, which is just a saturator that I really wanted and I felt was missing from the plugin world, where I love, Decapitator from Soundtoys, which is an amazing plugin, and a bunch of others. But I always felt like the low end was kind of getting crushed every time I used it. So I wanted to find like a way to make a really soft low end overdrive. And the hardware unit that I built did that like straight off the gate. So I felt like, okay, what I need to do is probably emulate that into a plugin. So that was the first one, Gorilla Drive. It's really fun to use on like kick and bass and anything really.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
the second one is Time Machine, and Time Machine idea came up with actually with this whole back office of filters and stuff, because I kind of realized I can create these presets, and I started messing around with presets of like compressors that I really liked and filters that I really liked, and got to a point where I had like a 50s preset, which was based off of a Fairchild kind of sound, and 60s preset, which is based off a LA2 sound, and a 70s preset, which is based on an 1176 sound, and then an 80s preset, which is a DBX 160. And I felt like I got to a point where it sounded like the actual hardware that I had. So, yeah, that was the second plugin that came out. It was just kind of, if we go back to what we were talking about earlier about stomp pedals, I wanted it to be like super simple, where you can just press a button and get that sort of sound and vibe immediately, kind of like a filter of sorts.
Yeah.
Um,
Like an Instagram filter.
in a way, yeah. And we're going to release a third plugin called Flamingo Verb, which is also a pretty, I think, in my opinion, a unique plugin, which I don't think exists. I mean, okay, so in my experience as a mixing engineer, I always love kind of mixing different reverbs. So what I'll do is I'll send one bus, like one send to like a short plate reverb, and then another to a longer kind of hall reverb maybe, or like a chamber.
Yeah, I do similar things a lot also.
Yeah, and blend between them and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I always had this like idea of how would it sound if I would have like a knob that changes the decay time based on different rooms, if that makes sense. Which is what the Flamingo reverb is doing. So it has like a time knob, which looks pretty simple, but actually in the background there's 4 IRs that I really like. And when you turn it around, you're basically blending between different IRs. So you get like this combo of different rooms in one. So you get like a blend of a long hall or a church sound with a spring reverb, with a plate, and my studio actually, which is like a really small, tight room. So it's
and so like
unique.
you get more or less of all 4 of them as you twist the knob, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Is there like a delay in there as well, or it's all verb?
There's a pre-delay in there, which is another thing that I always kind of wished existed in reverbs. You can turn on and off any of the parameters, so you can turn off the reverb and just use the pre-delay as like a slap, which is pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and there's a drive and width knobs and high pass and low pass, so it's pretty diverse.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really out there. So it's just like things that are kind of like popping up in your mind as like good ideas and just like going for it full hog, so to speak.
Yeah, pretty much right now, at least. I mean, I'm kind of indecisive on like the next few plugins. Like I would say like 3 coming up that we're already working on. Like one is the Flamingo Verb, then there's going to be a delay, which is going to be crazy. Like I have this insane idea that I'm not going to talk about, but you'll see.
Okay. If people find this episode in like 3 years from now, they'll be like, oh yeah, I've been using this for 2 years,
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And then the third one is a limiter, which is also pretty unique. Going back to what we talked about earlier. So I'm going to do a limiter that's actually a dual limiter. So it uses different attack and release for low frequencies and high frequencies. And it's a pretty cool design. And after that, I'm not really sure. Like we'll see what people are asking for or what comes up from like user feedback and stuff. What do you think I should do?
I don't know. I mean, that sounds pretty dope. What should you do? I don't know. Well, I'll have to think about that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe some sort of EQ. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what sounds like is maybe missing in the list.
Yeah, maybe
some sort of.
If any listener has any idea, please let me know. Like, I really like when people, give me their thoughts about what's missing.
Sick. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about like, I'm curious what's going on under the hood in the Gorilla Drive. Like I know it's like a soft saturation on the lows. Like, Can you explain maybe a little bit more details of like what kind of saturation is that? Like I don't know anything else that you could maybe give away because that thing sounds crazy on kick drums and especially in snares. I've gotten like crazy results using it. I'm already deep in. I'm sold on that one. So
thanks, man. I mean, it's not that complicated. It's just getting the kind of, like I said, getting the low end to fit right into the saturation, because it just took it took I don't know, like 100 hours of me just trying every single different filter and every single different saturator out there to figure out exactly what I wanted it to sound like. And the EQ there is pretty unique because it does this kind of parallel thing where you can again get like crazy low end but still have it's distorting, but it's not like crapping out. Yeah. But under the hood there's actually a compressor in there too. Like people don't know that, but oops. If you push it a lot, it starts compressing. It's a very kind of subtle, almost limiter like compressor. I just didn't want it to again crap out, because what you usually tend to do with a saturator plugin is you push the input in and you get to a point where it's clipping. And I was looking for a way for it not to clip and to sound really soft, so the compressor came in handy.
Nice.
Yeah, but it's really subtle. Like if you don't know that there's a compressor there, I'm not sure you can hear it. Maybe I'm wrong. Did you hear that there's a compressor in there?
No, but what I love about the plugin is that it kind of gives this low end bloom to the source, which I felt was like unique for that saturation kind of a thing. It really just brought out like a different kind of resonance out of like a kick drum, let's say, for example, of just like all of a sudden has more depth to it. It's longer. It's like a longer decay, the kick drum now. It seems like it's also emphasizing something maybe in the 100 hertz area. I'm not sure about that.
It depends on the source, but it goes low. It goes all the way down to like, I think 10 hertz. If you like measure it in Plugin Doctor or something, it goes really low.
Sick. All right, so everyone's got to go check out that plugin, right? So there's a free trial. Amazing. So I guess your goal is to just make plugins that people will be happy with and just keep going until you run out of ideas or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of for the first time in a very long while, I felt like everything's new again when I started making these plugins. Like I've been mixing and mastering for a good probably 16 or 18 years now. And I love it. I mean, I love mastering and I still want to do it every day. But at the same time, I was looking for like a new inspiration and a new kind of learning curve or something that I know little about and want to, start reading and stuff. And boy, I've been learning some stuff in the last few months since starting this company.